everybody. Hi. So you may be wondering, why do I look different today? Well, I'm not at home and I'm recording. And so I'm using the Live 2D that I have, but I didn't have all my settings saved, so I kind of made a new-ish version of the Live 2D model I use sometimes. Um, Especially because the person who made the model made some new settings. So I got I put my horns in the back this time, and my little wings look like my other wings, and yeah. I kind of decided that maybe this will be the model that I'll use when I'm not home because I kind of like it, and then the other model I'll use when I'm home. This is also a lot easier to use than some of my 3D models, which don't translate very well. Well, and the reason why I'm in this format, aka vertical and not horizontal, is because I'm using my phone. Oh, guys, I brought my computer because I had planned to either do some streaming or maybe do the recording I'm doing now, right? Well, my computer's been giving me problems for a long time, sadly. And I know that I've needed a new computer, but I was in denial. And this trip has shown me that my laptop does not work anymore. Yeah. Yesterday night, literally for hours and hours, I was trying to fix it, mess with this model and stuff, and I got it to barely function, but not really. And then today I was like, oh, I'll try to record on the computer. Well, today, another 2 hours lost. And thankfully, yesterday, I thought far enough ahead to set up my phone instead as a backup, and that is what we're doing. Yeah, that's my summary. So, you may be asking yourself, what is this video about? Although, if you clicked on the video, that means there is a title that probably is telling you something about PAX, right? So that's what this video is going to be about. I'll try to make it so that even though I have this vertical format, it still looks good on YouTube, regular YouTube, not shorts. And hopefully it works out. I hope that my future self that edits this does a good job. Do a good job, please. Anyway, let me tell you a little bit about PAX. So my plan is this. I kind of want to just I wouldn't call it a vlog, right? Because I'm not recording things live or anything like that. Um, let's see, it's more of like an edited video of me talking about PAX, but I'm gonna do it every night so that I remember kind of more accurately what's been going on, if that makes sense. Got it? Good. My plan, if my future self actually does some editing for once, maybe, is to add some of the images of pictures I've been taking, some of the B-roll I've been taking at PAX so that you all can kind of see what I'm talking about. I probably won't have pictures of everything, but I did take a few, and I did take a few videos. All right, what is PAX? Well, it's a video game convention. It's actually based off of um, it's actually based off of a webcomic, basically, and called Penny Arcade, which I never liked. But I do like the convention, even though I'm not a fan of the comic, whatever. It's kind of taken over what E3 used to be, which unfortunately I never got a chance to go to. So if you come to this convention, you get to see a bunch of video game demos. You get to try a lot of new cool stuff. And there's a few of them. PAX was originally on the East Coast, and eventually they made one on the West Coast. Some of my friends used to come to this convention and would tell me how cool it was, but at the time I couldn't really afford to come. Now I sort of can, and this is the third year that I have been here. It's in Seattle. So let's go day by day. Day zero. So, day zero for conventions, as I think most of you know, is the day before the convention officially starts. It tends to be on Thursday. So, I try to come early so that I can go and get my badge on Thursday, and then on Friday I don't have to worry about it. PAX is one of the few conventions, well, at least the ones that I go to, that actually sends your badge in the mail, which I really appreciate. So, you might be thinking, Galaxy, you just said you went on Thursday to get your badge. Why? Did you not get your badge in the mail? I did. The problem is that I need a medical badge. Dun dun dun. That's the sound of maybe me showing you what that looks like. But basically, because of my different medical conditions, it's really hard for me to stand for long periods of time, to walk too much, um, have some mental health stuff too. There's many reasons why I qualify for a medical badge, and for some reason, they do not send those in the mail. I don't know why. And so you have all these people who have difficulty getting around. I mean, that's not the only reason you get a med badge, but for PAX at least, that is kind of like the main reason from what I've seen. And then you make them wander around, walk into the reg line, and get the stupid badge in person. So that's why I came in early. I got my badge, so everything's good. And then, so I didn't know that Attack on Titan, which I love Attack on Titan. If you don't like Attack on Titan, that's fine, don't tell me. Anyway, I didn't know that Attack on Titan actually had a concert this year. Like those symphony concerts, which I love. And somehow I didn't find out about it. I only found out because the composer, and I'm sorry, I'm spacing on his name, he has a new concert that's going to be in LA in November that I heard about. I don't know if I'll be able to go, but I was looking into like, oh, it'd be cool if I could go because he's going to play songs from Attack on Titan and All Noah, and did he do the music for 85 as well? He's in a lot of great music for a bunch of anime. But long story short, because I was looking into that, I found out that there was an Attack on Titan concert, which was in San Francisco in April, and I somehow missed what the hell. But guess where it was playing on day zero? In Seattle. And I was able to get a ticket before I came here, and I saw it, and it was awesome, and I loved it, and it was great. So that's what I did day zero night. Is there anything else I want to say about the concert? Oh, they had some merch. Um, I don't think I'm going to keep this merch page, so I don't think you can see it. But basically, they had some T-shirts, they had some keychains. They had this really cool thing called Orchestra Conductor Tax Set. You're probably like, what the hell is that? It literally looks like the what are they called? The knives from the gear that they use. So it kind of looks like the knives that they pull out, and it gets set up in this really cool little standee with the Survey Corps symbol behind it. Unfortunately, it sold out, probably for the best, because I was like, I really want it, but I don't want to spend that much money on it. It was like $70. Besides that, they had the tour program, which I for sure bought because it's like, this tour is only happening this year. I should buy the book of it. Seems cool. They had a vinyl of all the music they're playing at the concert, like the official recording, and they also had a CD version. I just bought the CD version, which is what I want. It was $25, and I got the book. There was also a poster. I wasn't that into the poster because honestly, I was lucky enough to see the Attack on Titan musical last year, the one that came from Japan for like a weekend, and the posters I got there were really cool. So I was like, I don't need any more Attack on Titan posters. But yeah, that's what's going on. Oh, his name is on the paper I'm looking on. Hiroyuki Sawano. So he's going to have a concert in Los Angeles in mid-November. He's going to be going to some other places too. I think he's also going to Canada and some other countries. So if you're curious, go check him out. Yeah, he did 86. Interesting. Seven Deadly Sins. Wasn't that one really bad? No, that's not his fault. Okay, so that's what happened on day zero. The most exciting part was the concert. Okay, now let's move on to day one. So day one, I had 2 Warp Passes from Nintendo. If you don't know what those are, Warp Passes are basically tickets that you get from Nintendo from any IRL event. Usually they're free or very cheap. They just make you get the tickets so they can kind of control how many people are going to an event, and they don't have to worry about it being overwhelming or things selling out, depending on what it is. And so the 2 that I got, one was for the Pokemon demo for the new game, and one was for the new Kirby game. So to be honest, I didn't really care much about the Pokemon demo. And you might say, why? Don't you love Pokemon Galaxy? I love Pokemon. But that's actually why I wasn't interested because, well, I already pre-ordered the game. So I'm like, I don't really need a demo to figure out if I'm going to pre-order the game because I already did that. At the same time, So I went to another event where a demo was possible and I didn't try for it. At that event, they gave some pretty cool items if you did the demo. And then I thought, I kind of want to get the items. So I signed up for it. But the real game I wanted to sign up for was the Kirby one. I'm just looking at it right now. Kirby Air Riders. Okay, I think what I'll do is talk about the two Nintendo War Passes first, and then I'll tell you about some of the other things I did on day one, okay? So the first one I did was the demo for Pokemon ZA. One of the problems I had with the Nintendo booth is that they didn't have anything for people with a medical badge or ADA needs, which is a problem, especially because PAX gives us medical badges so that people can easily identify us as people who need, to be cut in front of line or to have access to the elevators if they're being limited, because often they are. We have a separate line for panels and things where there's chairs, thankfully, and you also get to go in first and kind of get ready before everybody else comes in. There's a bunch of stuff that we get because it's things that everyone who has a medical badge, well, needs. And PAX is usually pretty good about that, especially the convention itself. But a lot of the booths will just kind of cut you in front of line if you tell them, hey, I have a medical badge, and you show them the badge, and you're like, I can't stand for very long, or whatever. Usually that's one of the main issues. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah, sure, just stand here by the entrance, and as soon as we're able to, we will get you in. And then you still have to wait a little bit, but you don't have to wait as long. What's really good about that too is that a lot of the demos here don't have chairs. And so when you want to play the game, unfortunately, you have to be standing up, which is really hard for me. I kind of have to get into the stance where it kind of looks like Ashibumi from when I'm doing Kyudo. You have to kind of like I kind of have my legs wider open than you would think because it helps me balance better and it helps my legs not get as tired, oddly enough. Sometimes I kind of do a flamingo pose because if my legs are getting really tired, I kind of have to go from one to the other. All of this is also because often when I'm getting tired and my pain is increasing, I use my cane when I'm walking around, but obviously I can't use my cane and hold a controller at the same time. So anyway, but because of all the accommodations and things, that's why PAX is one of the few conventions that I make an effort to go to because it really is accessible to me. A lot of other conventions aren't. And sometimes I pay for them and then I can barely do anything because they're so bad. All that to say, I was really disappointed and surprised how bad Nintendo was about this. Um, I even thought back to the last few years because I always tend to do Nintendo things. Last year, their booth was really good. They got me in quickly, pretty much like any other booth here. But I did remember the year before, I did the Nintendo event, the Nintendo experience, and they were also mostly really bad about ADA stuff. I was barely able to attend the event because they made me stand in line for so long that I was in horrible pain by the time I got in. And I actually had to find a corner to sit and do my best before I could even move around and do anything. Ironically, that same event, when I went to go buy merch, and I was like, well, the line was really long. And I was like, well, if they make me do the line, I literally can't, so I won't be able to buy any merch. But the line actually had a separate ADA line, to the point that I saw a few other people. Well, because you never know what's if someone has a disability or what it is, right? But the people that I saw that had something that was really obvious in a, like you could visually see something was up. I told them where the ADA line was. So a few people who were really struggling were able to go over there, and it had like I think one or two chairs where you could just hang out. And they kind of just had you wait for 5 to 10 minutes about, and then they would call you, which is not that bad. Um, Especially because there was a chair. Anyway, but yeah, this time they were like, yeah, basically we don't care. We don't care that you have ADA needs. What's weirder about that is with the Warp Pass, you pick the time that you're going. So, hmm, everyone there at the right time. Does that make sense? So it's also not like I'm cutting in front of people who are at a different time. Although I had originally thought that maybe they would let me do that because it would have been easier for me if they would have let me do both demos in a row, because I know that Nintendo never has chairs for their demos, and it would be really hard on me. So it's like, oh, if I could do both in a row, even though it would really suck, then I could go sit and rest for a while and that would be better. But of course, they were like, no, we don't care. The only thing they did is that they're like, well, we can bring you a chair. And I'm like, well, that's better than nothing. But the reason why that was a problem is because, okay, so the way they had the lines, especially the Pokemon line, it kind of went from left to right, left to right, left to right, like in this small space. Does that make sense? And because of that, what they expected me to do was to have a chair they brought me and then drag it along with me while the line was moving, which I did and was definitely made my pain worse. I could barely do, and I was like, there are some other people who would not be able to do this. I could barely do it. So there I was, dragging along a chair so I could sit in it every once in a while I was also holding on to my cane and my backpack, and I almost dropped everything quite a few times. I'm surprised I didn't fall over. And what was weirder is that even though there was a lot of Nintendo staff, at no point did anyone offer to help me. Like, not even once. And I was like, interesting. So that was not great. When I eventually got to the Pokemon demo, I will say I really, really liked the game. But look, I love Pokemon. It's very difficult for me to hate a Pokemon game. I feel like I'm only not into the mobile Pokemon games. I always kind of try them, and they're fine. Like Pokemon Cafe is pretty cute. It just, I don't know, the Pokemon mobile games have never done it for me. But I pretty much will buy every Pokemon console game. I play Pokemon Go every day. I have tons of Pokemon plushies. I I don't really need convincing, and it's really hard to put me off from a Pokemon game. Even though I know that for other people that's not the case. So what was I going to say? Oh, so they had you play two different mini demos. Well, God, each one was like 10-ish minutes, which sounds good, but then, oh, hold on. Ignore that. Okay, so they'd have you play two different demos that are about 10 minutes each, which is not bad. It's just that after the standing and sitting and moving a chair, I was in a lot of pain. And again, Nintendo demos never have chairs. So then I had to stand there while I was playing the game. It's like, oh, I should have brought the chair with me. It's just that the way that it was set up, it would have been I don't know that I could have dragged the chair with me through the aisles to get to the computer they had me at, or the TV. Okay, but the two demos. So one, you kind of did like they've shown it in the trailers, the kind of battling other Pokemon trainers at night in the city. That was pretty fun. It was definitely the first one that you do in the game. It was like a good little tutorial. And then the second one was you fought Mega Absol, and Mega Absol was like corrupted or something. And that's like the excuse for it attacking you. It was kind of like the ones in Pokemon Arceus that you also have to defeat in battle so that they stop being mean and angry. It was kind of like that. What was different, so actually, because I had played that game, I knew how to handle it. But what was different is that they could also attack you, the trainer, and I don't think they could do that in RCS, or am I totally forgetting that? So you had to dodge and move around, but I mean, I'm used to playing games. I'm used to playing Pokemon games. It was fine. Um, the only bad thing is that for Nintendo booths and demos, I've noticed that they tend to like overly explain things all the time, and it's really annoying. So they have one staff minimum for every 2 to 4 people. Often it's like one per every two people. And they'll just be like, "Oh, do this, and then do this, and now you have to do this," and you're playing a demo that already is a tutorial while somebody is talking in your ear, backseat gaming you. I find it really obnoxious. It's not the staff's fault. It is clear that that's what they're told to do. But I remember when I played the Zelda game last year, the guy was being really rude and annoying, like really condescending and weird, which is not common. So the Pokemon person, I just kind of ignored him. And then at one point he was like, "You can't leave the red area, okay? Make sure." And it was like, "Oh, okay. Well, then I guess I'm done because I did all the things in the red area. The red area is like the battle zone. And the game was like, "Oh, go meet up with so and so character at the Pokemon Center." And the guy next to me kept giving me wrong instructions, and I'm like, "No, I already did that." And he's like, "No, do this." And I'm like, Yes, I already did that." Because you kind of had to like fight three or four different trainers in the area, and he seemed so confused. And I was like, "It's telling me to go to the Pokemon Center." And then when I started walking towards it, oh no, I left the red area. And he's like, "No, do not leave the red area. Go back, go back." And I'm like, "Dude, please chill out." Especially because I wasn't recording it. If I would have had someone else there, I would have. Because actually, they allowed you to record it as long as you were in the video. Does that make sense? So they're like, you can do an over the shoulder video if someone's recording you playing it. What you can't do is like kind of record it in a way that you're only recording the screen or something. I guess they don't want it to go online in that way, whatever. But I didn't have anyone with me, so I couldn't do that, which is too bad because I was like, oh, if I had someone here, I probably would have done that and then just used my 3D avatar to cover up myself and then shown you. But anyway, whatever. The Pokemon demo was actually really good. And then they gave us an item, and I had thought, oh, we're going to get a cool item because at the other event I went to, they gave everyone like cool backpacks. Or maybe they'll give us a little, well, like a drawstring backpack, but still. So I'm like, oh, maybe we'll get the backpack. And I was already thinking, oh, I know some people who would like it. I can give it to them. And then I was like, oh, maybe they'll give us a pin because the Pokemon booth didn't come this year. So maybe we'll get a cool pin. Guess what we got? We got a patch, and not a good patch. Nintendo tends to, I've seen these before, tends to make these patches that are like really cheap. It literally has the 3M, you know, the tape company. It has the logo on the back because it's just basically some tape on some crappy piece of pretend fabric. And I was like, oh, thanks. Because the only reason I did the demo was for that. Oh well, it's Chikorita. Maybe someone will want it. All right, so then with the Kirby one, that one was even worse. When I went to the front and said the same thing I always do, hey, I have a medical badge. I'm just letting you know. Is there a separate ADA line, or how do you want to, what would you like to do? Literally, before I even finished talking, the person at the front, or the staff member I was talking to, was like, no. And I'm like, what? And she's just like, no, you got to go in line. And I'm like, oh my God. And not only that, she's like, you can't go in line now anyway. It's too early. I was like, okay, when should I come in line? Well, in no, actually 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, you can get in line. And I was like, oh my God, dude, really? She's like, yeah, so maybe you should go do something else and then come back. And if you, God, this is at the end of the day. And if you would have seen me, I feel like it was really obvious that I was exhausted and in a lot of pain because I was limping a lot, even using my cane. And I'm just staring at her like, what? I was like, no, I think I'll, 4 minutes. I think I'll just wait here then. And actually, what I ended up doing, she was so rude, is that there was a bathroom nearby. And I was like, well, they're going to make me do this line that's going to last a million years. I better at least go to the bathroom. And then when I came out, guess what? More than 4 minutes had passed. I can get into the line. So stupid. And then I asked another staff member, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know what to do. Oh, you have a med bag. I don't know what to do." And then she brought me a chair eventually, and I was like, "Oh, great, we're doing the chair thing again." Don't get me wrong. Yes, I do need a chair. It would have been impossible for me to do without the chair. I would have had to leave. However, it is really difficult for me to drag a chair along with my cane and my bag and being so tired. It kind of sucked, especially the way the line was. They kind of snaked it around in this weird way that when you moved, you actually had to move a long distance for me, if that makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to skip ahead. Just know the line sucked. When we finally got in, right? God, you know how when you go to a doctor, they'll put you in like a room. What's that called? I think it's literally called rooming someone, right? When they put you in a room and it's like, oh, I still have to wait another 10 to 20 minutes for the doctor to show up in the room. They're just sticking me in here, but I'm not actually going to see the doctor anytime soon. It reminded me of that. So they had all these people. Well, so they put you in groups of like, geez, let's say almost 20 people. They were pretty big groups, and they put you into different sections, right? The way that it worked, they had these really tiny stools with cushions, which I can't use. They would have, well, if I was desperate, I would have tried, but they were really small, and I usually can't sit on things like that because they usually cause more problems than not. So I brought the chair with me, and hold on, just drinking some tea. My throat's kind of icky. One of the staff members who was in charge of that group approached me, and I thought that what she was asking was something like, "Oh, can I help you with the chair?" As in, can I help you move the chair to where you need to go next, right, to this little area? And but I looked at her strangely because when she asked me that, I had already moved the chair the whole way there. So I was like, "Oh, but I'm already here. What?" And what she was actually asking, it was just sometimes people talk like this. What she was actually saying was, "Can I help you?" As in, "Can I take the chair away from you?" And I was like, "No, I need I need the chair, which is why I have it. So no, thank you." Anyway, so then I put the chair behind the little stupid stools, and once again, even though I'm like literally suffering here, and I wasn't the only one, even the people who I assume are able-bodied, everyone was like sitting on the floor. Everyone was exhausted because the line itself took a little over an hour to get through. Like it sucked. I don't know why, because they had everyone scheduled. So everyone looked pretty miserable. They stick us there and they're like, "Oh, now you get to watch a trailer for the game and the creator of the game talking about it." And we're just like, "Oh my God." Because I had already seen the way the line worked, we had already seen what they were showing people, and I had noticed how long they had to stay in that area. Y'all, this trailer was the most boring, terrible trailer I've seen. I literally was like, I don't care, and got on my phone. Everyone was on their phone. Everyone was tired and exhausted. While you had one of the creators of the game saying the same thing, because then it was on repeat, talking about the game. And what, what made it worse is that when I'm sitting there, I was like, wow, I hadn't looked at a single trailer of the game. This game sucks. I love Kirby, but this game looks terrible. What is this? Like the way that they had it is like, oh, you have to get these power-ups. For what reason? Who knows? You have to go get these power-ups, and at first I thought, oh, you can use them against people when you're racing. No, you just get them, and whoever gets the most power-ups wins. But sometimes things happen. I'm like, what? And then the power-ups, they look like flat paper 2D, not paper as in like a cool style. No, literally flat paper 2D objects in a 3D world that you run into. Only thing I kind of liked is that it showed that you can have different vehicles in the game. So whatever, I'm sitting there for a long time. They have me go in the last group of that group, which I'm also like, I have told you all that I have a med badge. I am in horrible pain. Why are you putting me at the end? It was just, and let me say, I saw a few other people with disabilities approach the front, and some of them were turned away, and others were talked to the same way that I was. And I think the people who left were the people who couldn't do the line. I mean, I barely could, and I know some people can't. So, yeah, Nintendo really did a bad job with ADA. I'm really surprised how bad it was. Well, anyway, I finally get to the game. They have us in groups of 4. Nintendo loves doing that. They're like, it's a party game. You can play with your friends or these strangers you just met today. Okay. Y'all, this game was so boring and bad. And I love Kirby. I had wanted to do the Kirby demo more than the Pokemon demo, especially because, like I said, I already pre-ordered Pokemon. I know I like Pokemon. But I was like, ooh, a new Kirby game. No. It's how is the same company that makes Mario Kart, which is such a great fun racing game, making this? I mean, the power-ups were kind of meaningless. They were as flat in the game as they looked in the trailer. Um, Getting different vehicles was cool, but also at the same time it was kind of meaningless. For some reason, the controls were really bad. when I would use my right stick to move the camera and then move with the left, you know what I'm talking about. Um, it like would spin so fast or work in a weird way that I kept crashing into things that didn't make sense. It's like, no, I'm trying to move the camera differently so I can move, and it just didn't work. Um, yeah, I don't know. So the first part that you do, you're kind of competing, not really racing with anybody, with these other people to get the most power-ups, and sometimes you can attack them, but I don't know that any of that matters. And then you go into something called Stadium. I think it was called Stadium, where then you kind of have mini games like in Mario Party, but what was weird is that you don't have to play the same mini game against your team of four. You know how in Mario Party you can, well, I think in Mario Party it's random. In this one you could select which mini game you wanted to play, but then you would just play that mini game. And so if no one else picked it, you play against CPU bots, and then whoever else would play whatever game they picked. So you weren't playing against the others unless you agreed ahead of time, which seemed really weird. Um, I don't really know how the points worked because we would get one score for all the power ups, and if you got the most power ups, you won, I guess. Then in the stadium thing, one time all four of us got first place because we all got first place in our individual games. But what does that mean? Oh God. And that was after they made us do, I don't even know how many mini tutorial things. I was like, please let us stop. It's like, do you know how to drift in a game? Let's do it now. Do you know how to turn? Let's turn. Do you know how to jump and fly? Oh, and then it kept saying like, oh, you don't have to push forward on the left stick to go forward. I get it. I get that the game already does that for you because that's how the game works. But because I tend to play other games where you have to do that all the time, it is natural for me to do that. So please stop giving me a warning telling me I don't have to. Like, I wish there was an option to turn that off eventually. It's like, yes, I understand. I'm still going to do it. Leave me alone. Instead, all the time I would be like, hey, we notice that you're pushing your left stick forward, but you don't need to do that. Okay, shut up. It was so bad and boring that out of our team of four, the two people, who I think were a couple, left after the first game. Because after the game, the two games or whatever, I was like, oh, well, um, I guess we're done. And they're like, oh no, you've only done one. Now you get to do both of them all over again. And I'm like, do we do we have to? That was so the other two just left. And so me and one guy, we stayed, and then the staff was like, "Oh, I guess we have to step in to take over for the other two." The staff were more into it than we were, but I'm like, "Yeah, I'd be into it too if I've been working all day with probably really annoying people and tired and on my feet." But I was like, I've just been in a line for an hour with people treating me rudely after doing the same thing for Pokemon, and this game is bad. And then when it was over, I was like, God, I hope we at least get a nice pin from this. I would love a nice Kirby pin because, again, often Nintendo will give out really nice pins. Or for Mario Wonder, I got this really cool keychain of Mario as an elephant, like a little figurine. It's super cute. So sometimes they give out really nice stuff. Guess what they gave us? Another Krabby Patch. But this time it has Kirby on it. Wow. I mean, I remember one year, I think it was 2 years ago, right, where I did some Nintendo thing at PAX, and they gave me these really cool mini acrylics. Oh yeah, it was for Mario Wonder also, and it was Luigi, Mario, and Peach, three mini acrylics, one of each, in like some different item of the game. Really cute. I had it on my desk for like a year or two. They were adorable. So going from that to this, I'm like, cool. Thanks. Sorry, that was a long rant. Well, that's what happened in the Nintendo booth. That was the main thing I did. I mean, I'll tell you about some of the other things. The last Nintendo related thing is that so in the expo hall, oh, and I guess I should have said this at first. Besides the fact that I had the two warp passes, I had wanted to go to all the big companies on Friday because there tend to be less people on Friday. That way, when I get screwed over and people don't care that I have a med badge, I might still be able to do something if the line is long. I mean, The line is short. And so there's a few that I didn't have to worry about it because there'd be like 3 people, and I'm like, oh, I'll just wait. Um, oh, and because sometimes they run out of the free stuff after Friday if it's really popular. So in the area where there's mostly the really big companies like Nintendo, Bandai, etc. Nintendo had a separate mini booth in the secret little area I found last year because last year I was looking for what are they called? The ZZZ bunny dudes that are so cute. They brought a super huge inflatable one last year, and I found it. And I knew that there's a secret area where they have a few tables. Most of them are crap, to be honest. But Nintendo had one of their booths back there, and if you went over there and you signed in with your My Nintendo account, you got a really cool Nintendo Switch tote bag. That was probably the nicest thing I got. It's not like an expensive tote bag, it's just really nice. Okay, let me look at my stuff at what else I did. I'll probably go quicker through the other things because they're a little bit less interesting. I think the Nintendo stuff was the bigger thing that happened. Oh, that's right. I went to the Razer booth. They were very nice. Um, they gave me these really cool pins, even though they're from PAX East this year, but that's fine. They're really cute. They have their little snake dude in like a baseball outfit. I actually got 2 of them, so I'll probably give one to somebody. And I was able to get this dock that I needed cheaper IRL than online, so that was awesome. Oh yeah, I went to the Lenovo Legion booth. I'm still not entirely sure what they're selling, but they had a really cool setup. I got a picture with their cool setup, and then they gave me a little pin of a little skeleton dude and a pin of some little bear-like monster dude. The skeleton dude I'm keeping. The bear-like monster I'll give to somebody else. I went to Fangamer's booth because I really wanted to buy the Napsta block lamp, but the shipping is kind of pricey, and so that's what kept stopping me from buying it. But they had it in stock, so I bought it. And then if you signed up for their newsletter or showed them that you already were on their newsletter, they gave you this really cute Fang enamel pin. It's like their little, I guess, mascot. He's just breathing. He has the Fangamer logo on his back like a shell. He's breathing fire. Has a little controller. Adorable. Oh, right. I forgot to say, Razer had a few different random things they were doing. I couldn't finish all of them. I did like half, which is why I got one pin. The other pin I got because I bought something. But then if you put on the kitty ears, that was one of the tasks. They take those photo booth photos that give you like 3 to 4 photos. They did that, and I got to have little pictures of me, and they printed them out. I do wish I would have been there with somebody. These would have been really cute pictures with someone else. Also, not that you can't see it, but my hair is like really curly and poofy, and I always have like a mini afro. I don't know what was going on where there's a chunk of my hair. I think it moved when I put the kitty ears on. That I don't even know where it thinks it's going, but it's going somewhere. Um, this game, Crimson Desert, they gave me this cool, kind of like block pin that I really like. But about the game, let me just say, staff, super nice, very accommodating. Even when they were like, we're not sure when we'll be able to get you in, but we do have chairs you can sit, as in what you normally are supposed to do with ADA people, like a stationary chair, and they'll come and get you when it's your turn. Very nice. And funny enough, they got me in quickly because sometimes when you're going through the med badge stuff, they'll give you the same reserved computer spot that they have for reporters and influencers, I believe. Because if there's nobody ahead of you, then that computer is always free. Does that make sense? It's always empty. So that's where they put me. Anyway, Crimson Desert was like, kind of like a standard fantasy game where you had a bunch of powers and swords, and the tutorial in that case was useful because it was actually a bit confusing, and it was really confusing to be able to pick up a banner and shove it into the right hole. One of the staff members had to help me because I was so confused, but then I got the hang of it, and I shoved a lot of banners in a lot of holes. And there was one point, so yeah, the staff was actually useful. Because there was one point where I was like, man, this area the game is sending me to seems really far, and the guy's like, you want to use your horse? I'm like, horse? It's like, yeah, hit this button and do this and you'll have a horse. And I'm like, ha ha, quicker. So I really appreciated the staff. I can say that. The game, it's not bad. It's just not for me. I feel like there's other games that do the same thing better, to be quite honest. It's not a type of game that appeals to me. I guess it would be like an action fantasy RPG thing. If you're into that, you might like it. Again, it's called Crimson Desert. And again, staff was super nice, which I always like. Okay, what do we got here? Oh yeah, Dawn Walker. Wait, it's like the something of Dawn Walker. I can't read it. It's too small. The Blood of Dawn Walker. I went to their setup because they had a bunch of employees that were dressed all spookily, and if you went to go take a picture with them, you got a pin. And so I have a picture of myself looking very upset and stressed while they're trying to cut blood out of me and gave me a glass that I'm going to have to drink my blood out of. Look, I like the picture. I like the idea. It was pretty funny. And that one, you didn't get to play a demo, but the setup was really cool. I actually stumbled across the setup the day before because when I was looking for the med badge line, I accidentally ended up on, for real, I'm not being sarcastic, ended up on the Sky Bridge, and I actually saw their setup and the Lenovo one ahead of time when it was half done. Like Thursday around 2 or something. So I already knew that I kind of wanted to check it out. The staff at that booth also super nice, really nice. I chatted with some of them for a little bit. The game itself looked okay. It's just it did not seem like it had any diversity of any kind. It was like, oh, it's another game of a mediocre cishet white dude who needs to save the world. We have a lot of those. The game did not look bad. I'm sure a lot of people will like it and it'll be fine. It's just not a game I'm interested in? I mean, literally, I was standing there for a while, well, a while for me, and looking at the trailer, it's like, or some of the gameplay. And it's like, yeah, this is a game. It just really felt like there's nothing unique about it. But I did like the booth and everyone was nice and I appreciated that. Okay, what else do we got here? I'll talk about that in a minute. Oh yeah, I went to this booth briefly called Let's Play Oink Games. They had some interesting games at their booth. The one I wanted to play, but someone was there and I was already really tired, so I was like, I'm good. It's called Chilling by the Fire, where you kind of had a puzzle game about keeping the fire burning in a very cold environment. It could be either really interesting or really boring. I can't tell. But I was curious about it. They also have a lot of card games and IRL things that seem pretty interesting. It looks here that they also have them in a few different languages, which is interesting. They at least have them in English, Japanese, and maybe Chinese, if I'm reading this correctly. That's cool. Apparently they have it so that you can play their board games online with people. I'm guessing like Tabletop Simulator. Oh, this goes over here with that booth. So does this. What was this one? Oh yeah, this is from, I think, was this the same booth? I think it was. Or was it? Yeah, Owen Games. Sappho and the Moon Warriors. I was only interested because it sounded like Sappho, like Sapphic. And it had a bunch of cute furry characters. Shut up. Again, there was other people that were playing it. I just kind of looked at it for a little bit. I don't know if it's a good game or not. Sorry. All right. What was this one? Oh yeah, they also gave me a little postcard for the game I mentioned before, the Crimson. What was it? Crimson Desert. Apparently they have a sweepstakes to win some cool stuff. Maybe I'll enter it. I don't know. Every once in a while I win one of those sweepstakes. One time I got like some PlayStation merch. I've gotten free video games before. Anyway. All right. This is all the same booth. Okay. So I went to the Bandai Namco booth, which thankfully the lines were really short on day one. The only line that was really long, surprisingly, was for the Pac-Man video game, and it's a Pac-Man. So if you think of N64 games, N64 platformers games like like Super Mario 64, Banjo Kazooie, and stuff like that. I, this game is not as good as those. Let's be clear. However, it's a very similar style. So if you like that type of game, you might like this. The game is fine. It's called Pac-Man World 2. Pac-Man World Repack 2. Okay. Um, the only reason I did the demo, well, there's two reasons. One, main reason is that there was a prize booth where like, oh, here are the prizes you get once you play a demo, right? Or once you do certain things. The Pac-Man one was this really cute tote bag in collaboration with Maruchan, the ramen company. Um, that had a neat design and I really wanted it. But the Pac-Man line was really long. All the other lines were so short that I was like, I'm just gonna do the regular line because I'm probably okay. This is before I did the Kirby line. So if I would have known that that was gonna happen, I wouldn't have done that. But oh well, I couldn't tell the future. Anyway, I had to ask. Well, I told them, hey, I have a med badge, please help, when I went to the Pac-Man one because the line was so long. It's like, there's no way I can wait in this line, unfortunately. Thankfully, they put me through relatively quickly, which I really appreciate, because the other problem is, once again, all the demos never have a chair. You just gotta stand there. The demo was fine. I think if you like platformer-y action adventure games like the ones I mentioned before, like Super Mario 64 and stuff, you will probably like this. Um, yeah, I can't say that it's like amazing, but it's not bad. I was surprised how many people were interested in it. And I got my little Maruchan tote bag. You know what's so funny? When I went to go get it, right, I was carrying it for a little bit, and then eventually I realized, wait, I can fit this in my backpack. Why am I carrying this? That's stupid. So, as I often do, I kind of like paused in a corner to stick it into my backpack. And I'm like, wait, why does it feel like there's something in here? Because they give you, where did I put it? Oh, yeah, they give you this postcard that says, "Greeting from Pac-Man World." It's kind of cute. And then they stamp it on the back, which basically means we've already given you the tote bag. Does that make sense? You have to show this postcard to get the tote bag. So I was like, I thought they just put the postcard in the bag. What's happening? And I noticed there's like a bally object, that sounds weird, in the bag. I stick my hand in, and there's a cup of ramen. I was like, which is perfect because that's gonna be my breakfast tomorrow. I was like, okay, thank you for the cup of ramen. It was just so silly. Um, they had Little Nightmares there too. I don't really care. I played Little Nightmares 2 or 3, whatever they're on. I played that last year at PAX. It's just not out yet. But then this postcard I grabbed for a friend of mine. Apparently it just at first I thought it was going to give you for free the first comic book that they're making for Little Nightmares, but literally no. It just says, "Oh, scan this QR code on this postcard for information on how you can pre-order our comic book." It's like, well, that's lame. I'm still going to give it to them though, because they might like the art. Then I played Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. It's kind of cute. It's like basic JRPG characters. They all have like a Japanese theme, as in like ancient Japanese theme. I thought it was a tactical game because of how it looked, but actually it's a roguelite. It plays. They were like, oh, have you? Because I obviously I never played the game, right? And they're like, have you ever played Hades? I'm like, yeah. It's like, okay, the controllers basically work like Hades, and I'm like, okay, they do, but Hades is way better than this game. It's not bad. I think if you like roguelite games, you probably like this game. Again, it's called Toa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. It's just I only like roguelite when it's really, really good. So I loved Hades. I loved Cult of the Lamb. I really want to play Hades too. It's just that it's still in what's it called? Early release or whatever. I want to wait until until there are fewer bugs, so I don't want to get annoyed when I'm playing it. But yeah, this one's similar. They gave you this little card pack, and it's like, oh, if you get the special card, we'll give you a code for the game for free. But unfortunately, I did not get the special card. I did get some chick called Origami, who's actually pretty cute. That's who I got. Oh my god, I forgot about this. So at the same booth, right? When I first got there to see like what stuff and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Sorry, it's just they had this thing for Sword Art Online, right? And the person at the desk is going through, oh, like, oh, to get the Maru-chan bag, you have to play the Pac-Man demo. Blah, 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 blah. You have to play this demo. Blah, 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 blah. Normal stuff. She gets to the Sword Art Online thing, which is a, what are these called? You know those little fabric banners that you kind of stick on your badge? I really like those. It's actually a pretty cute banner thing for your badge. It just has, I think this is supposed to be Asuka, but maybe I'm wrong. Just looking sadly at some flowers. This is actually not the art that they even showed me. The art that they showed me was different and I liked it more, but this is still pretty cute. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll have a Sword Art Online thing on my badge someday. Sorry, the reason I'm laughing is because it's like, oh, what do you have to do to get the banner thingy, right? Oh, just scan the QR code. I'm like, okay. So I scan the QR code. It's like, oh, now what? That's it. Here you go. So basically, all you had to do was scan the QR code so you could see the web page where they were announcing this game. Not sign up, not even sign up for a newsletter. A lot of people will make you wish list it on Steam or follow the whatever, to increase followers or, oh, follow us on Twitter or Instagram. No, just look at the page. You looked at it? Here you go. Thanks. So stupid. Another game they had was Digimon. That game seemed pretty cool. The new Digimon game called Digimon Beat Break. I love Digimon. The problem is, I love Pokemon more, and I often don't have enough time to play all the things. However, the little bit I played of the Digimon game. Oh, wait. Digimon Beat Break, Digimon Story Time Stranger comes out on October 3rd. The little bit I played, I really liked. So they had two options you could pick from, and unlike Pokemon, you could not play both. So I picked Adventure because the other one was just battling against like some really powerful Digimon. I don't really care. So I did the Adventure one, which kind of had you do some of the story really and get to meet the characters, which I was way more interested in. And it was pretty cute. They had like this whole city full of Digimon. You got to see how the characters interacted with each other, how Digimon interacted with the non-Digimon people. And then there was even a part at the end where you go into a sewer because you're trying to get somewhere in the story, and you do get to see kind of how Digimon battle. Also, almost all the Digimon were able to evolve, so you could kind of see how the evolution system worked. And basically, you chose one of several options for most of the Digimon, which is pretty cool. I really liked it. Honestly, the only reason I probably won't play it is because I don't have time. I think it's one of those games that if I had more time, I'd be really into it. It's just that I have other games that I want to play more right now. Oh, and what they gave you was like a cute little lanyard, and then it has kind of a card at the end with some of the artwork from the game. It's actually pretty nice. I like the lanyard especially because on one side of the lanyard it has like the name, whatever, but on the other side it has like pixelated versions of the characters in the game. It's very cute. What else did we get? Oh yeah, I also got this really cool thing from, I've never heard of this game before, Code Vein number 2. They had this motorcycle they had propped up so you could get on it, and then the two main characters there was like cosplayers, so they'd take a picture of you first on the motorcycle alone, and then the two cosplayers would come around after and do a pose with you. Here's the thing. The motorcycle was kind of propped up a little bit higher, and even though it had a stool on one side, I'm like, it's probably a bad idea for me to try to jump on this motorcycle for two reasons. I am a large person, IRL, and I was like, I don't know that this motorcycle can support me. But also, I have mobility issues, as I've mentioned, and I'm like, it's a bad idea for me to try to get on this thing. I'm going to fall over and hurt myself. It would have been very possible. So because of that, sorry, like I said, I feel like I'm either my allergies are worse or I'm getting a cold. I'm not sure. Anyway, because of that, I posed in front and I told them, like, yeah, it's probably a bad idea for me to do that. But, and then I just did a pose with the cosplayers. So they gave me a lanyard, which was very cool. Says the name of the game, has some cool artwork on it. But the better thing is they had this tote bag. And I'm like, wow, this tote bag looks really nice and it's very big. I went back. I didn't realize that the tote bag is like sturdy and actually, you know, those tote bags that are actually more like a backpack, right? That has like the straps on the back. Also, the top had this really intense Velcro to keep it in place. It was very nice. Um, what was weirder is that later, when I went to go get the Pac Man tote bag a little later that day, they were out of the tote bags. I really hope that that means that they only ran out for Friday, and that doesn't mean they ran out for the whole weekend. Because if they did, that was around 2 p.m. on Friday. So, yeah, very early. What else? We don't have much, and my battery on my phone is dying, so I gotta wrap this up. Oh yeah, I went to the Materia store. There, if you don't know them, they have a lot of video game music and they sometimes get specific deals with games. They're the ones that are going to release the Deltarune piano song collection sometime soon. I got to pre order it. I had really wanted the Undertale piano sets, but I didn't realize I didn't have them yet. So I bought both IRL, which is nice. I have the piano books to play them, but I don't have, like the CDs to listen to it. Because I bought some stuff, they gave me one of their lanyards, very cute. They had some free stickers. This one's called Kuraga Records, ha ha ha. They had one called Friaga Records too. They mostly have references to Final Fantasy, Zelda, Mario, stuff like that. They even had some of their albums on cassette, which is pretty funny. They had some lo fi stuff from different video games, some remixes. They had really good stuff. If you like video game music, you probably like them. So it's called Materia Store or Records. You can find them very easily online. They have CDs, vinyls, and cassettes. Oh, I forgot to say that one of the reasons I wanted to get my little Napster block lamp is because they were giving away free Among Us. I love Among Us. Free Among Us lanyards if you got one. Well, while supplies lasted. That's why I went on Friday. I didn't get the one I wanted, but I didn't get the one I didn't want either. I got the medium one. It just has little Among Us dudes floating into nothingness and probably death. Yeah. Because they had one of the red one that I got when Inner Sloss was here in the past. When I came in, I forgot to mention, this was, I guess, on day 0. They were giving out they're everywhere, these Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection lanyards. I got them for nostalgic reasons because it has what they looked like back on, what is this? The PlayStation 1, maybe? What they looked like on that? Not Genesis, not pixelated, but it's pretty old. And then it just says, finish them again. Essential games from the early years. I think I already have a Mortal Kombat collection somewhere, but so I grabbed 2 of these, one for me and one for someone who will get it gifted. I don't know who yet. Oh yeah, Crimson Desert also gave me a lanyard as well. They had a photo op thing which I didn't do. I'm not sure if I regret it or not because it was on a throne. It's just I was tired. I think if you got the photo op, they painted your face like the dude in Crimson Desert, who kind of looks like how Mel Gibson looked in Braveheart. Do with that as you will. So what else did I do? At some point I ate food. Oh yeah, and then I worked on the computer for a long, long time just for it to be useless and have to use my cell phone. But at least the cell phone has better tracking anyway. All right, everybody. Sorry, that was a lot longer than I thought, but that was my day 1. I will come back later with day 2 and day 3 and not day 4 because day 4 is when I'm traveling back, so there's not going to be anything to talk about, hopefully. Okay, bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.